Welcome back to another video. In this video, I will be showing you how to make a terrain with flowers, grass, and trees, also with an ocean too. First, what we're going to do is we're going to, well, if you don't have a room started, go ahead and make a new room by going to the create menu and creating a maker room. Just hit create new room and create the first room. Next, you can just fly up and get started. We're going to get a spear. The spear is going to be a terre verte dirt color. This is more like a grass color. There is a grass texture, but it's not as great as you can see here. It's just not that great. So I would just use the dirt one. Anyway, go ahead and get your spear. And if your spear spawns like this, it means uniform shapes is on. You want to have that off. That will mess this up. So once you have your spear, you want to make it kind of oval like, kind of like how I was making it. You want to make it pretty big in both directions. So something kind of like this. I would shorten it maybe a bit. No, that's fine. That's fine. Just make it big like that. Okay. So once you have your circle here, you want to put your snapping on off, copy this, and you'll want to place it like this. But the thing is, do you see, you don't really see it that much over here. But if you look over here, you notice that it starts to drop off and the texture starts to stretch a little bit. You want to cover this line. So I am going to place my other circle right here, and that way it kind of conceals the line. And you just want to keep doing that until you get something like this, or you can't see the line. That way, you know, it looks good. You don't have no drop offs anywhere. And you just want to keep doing that until you make your terrain as big as you need to. Before I go to the next part, or well, I'm actually building this, go ahead and subscribe, like the video if you like the content, and use the notification bell for updates on content, maps I build, or whatever I upload. Go ahead and click done. You have your little terrain right here. Obviously, it's not scaled up properly yet. You can go ahead and scale it, but I find it better if you built your terrain small and then scale it up because it's easier to build like this. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and press done on it. And like I said, you want to make sure it's all nice and clear of these little edges right here. And once you're done clearing up all the edges, you are going to want to clone the entire thing, and you want to move it over. Now, I didn't move mine over that much. It's because I'm trying to cover all the little edges and everything. But you are going to want to move your terrain and cover it up like this and just keep copying the big one until you get a proper terrain that you like. And then after you're done, go ahead and press done, and you are going to merge them all together. Oh, you can't press done. Yeah, you just select them all and merge them all together. And this will be our terrain. I'm going to scale it up just so you can see. scale it up, walk on it and everything. This is your terrain. Gonna undo the scale now because it's easier to build like this. Now we are going to go ahead and build the ocean because it's easier to actually get the ocean in here first before the trees or flowers or anything. Unless you're making an ocean on the side of your terrain, but you can do that. But we are going to get another spear, or you can just go ahead and edit this if you want, because we're just going to be using the same thing. I'm just going to go ahead and edit this. Make sure your snapping's on off. We're going to recolor this to periwinkle glossy plastic. Periwinkle glossy plastic is a good ocean texture. I use it in a lot of my maps. And what we are going to do is we're going to do the exact same thing. We are going to copy it and just do this over and over until we get an ocean we want. For this example, I'm just going to do a circle because that's the easiest. So just keep copying over and over. I'm not going to make sure it's that great anymore just to hurry along with the tutorial. And once we have that, we are going to want to fill in the middle. And like I said, you want to make sure that these gaps are all filled in and everything. And once you do that, you can go ahead and press done. And oh, well, actually, you want to select all of them since we're editing the other shape. And you are going to want to move. I want people to go in the ocean and swim, so we're actually going to put the ocean on the side. You can do whatever you want, but I'm just going to do this. We're going to copy the ocean, and we are just going to keep placing it side by side, the island, or whatever this is that you created and want it to be. And we're just going to keep doing that until we got a pretty good ocean. I'm not going to build a full ocean, that would take forever. So get grid tube, and we are going to want the tube to be a brown color. It can be any brown color that you want. I am going to go with brown. You can also go with burnt umber too. Any kind of brown that looks good. Just make sure that it's wood grain, and you can scale up and down the texture if you want. And we are going to go into tools, make sure uniform shapes is on. Well, actually, we want uniform shapes to be off. Go to create tube settings. The tube radius is going to be 0.25. The tube height is going to be 1. Tube facet 6. Don't use 10 because that uses more ink than the other facet. The tube analog mode is going to be on raw. And smooth tubes is going to be off, and keep connect nearby tubes on. Now, raw means when you draw the tube, you see, you can't see me do this, but if you press down on your trigger and let go of it more, it will start going in and out as you're building up, which is really nice for what we're doing. And then when you let go, then it will stop. So what we are going to do is we are going to draw this tree up, hopefully straight. Make sure that it's straight. And then we're going to slowly let go of the trigger. And there we go. We have our tree, and don't worry if it's not too big. We can just go ahead and manipulate that up. And we can manipulate this down to it's looking better. And if it still doesn't look the best, you can go ahead and edit your tube. And you see all these blue dots. You can actually scale, rotate, and move them. If it is too small for your liking, you can always scale it up or down if you want, move it around and things like that. But I think this is pretty good. Okay, now that you are done with that, press done on here. That's when you edit the tube 2 times. You can edit it once and edit it twice to do that. So get out your editing once and get another tube like that because it's not the same size. Okay, so make sure that it's the same size, 0.25, and then it should be working just fine. And I know this looks weird, but like I said, you can just go ahead and edit it and scale it down. Which, if you do mess up, what you probably will mess up a few times, you can always just go ahead and here scale things down. And you can also move them too if you moved it in a bad place, maybe. Maybe you want your tree branches to do a little bit of this. And we can also scale this down too. And I think this looks a bit too big. I'll make that a bit smaller. Make this a bit smaller. And there we go. We have our branch. And now what you want to do is you want to take the tree and we're going to copy it. And just go ahead and turn it a little bit. And we are going to make sure that it doesn't pop out the other side that much. And that will be another branch. You can also scale it down too if you want. That way the branch is a different size and you can also manipulate the tube and everything. Just go crazy with this and make whatever tree you want and stuff. By using copying. Hello. There we go. Yeah, like I said, go ahead and just make whatever tree you want. And then after you're done making the tree you want, I will show you how to make the leaves at the top. Now that you're done manipulating your tree and everything, we have our base tree. I hope your branches look better than mine. And once we do that, we're going to go to grid, get another tube, and we are going to be using a green color. I recommend not using the same color as the ground because people are going to look at your map and it's going to be the same colors and people are going to be like, this is disgusting using the same colors. So personally, what I would use a Viridian. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, I would use that with the dirt texture. And what we are going to do is we're going to make sure connect tubes is on. Okay. We are going to draw it straight like this. Oh, make sure raw is off. The analog mode, make sure this is off and make sure smooth tubes is on. We're going to keep the same facets and everything. Just make sure to draw it like this. We're going to turn it a little bit, turn it again and draw it straight, turn it again, and just keep turning it again and drawing it straight until you get a little circle like this. Obviously, it should look a bit better, but it's okay. Once you do that, you can go ahead and manipulate it and make it look a bit more, I don't know, tree leafy, however you want to say. And once you're done doing that, you're going to want to scale this up. And once you scale that up, place this on one of your branches, like so. And just do this for each one of your branches. And once you do that, you should have a pretty basic but good looking tree. And once you're done doing this, go ahead and fill in the center of this. It doesn't matter how you turn it. You might want to turn it in different directions to give off the tree feeling of it being leaves and stuff. And then once you're done doing that, here is your tree that is looking okay. I'm gonna go ahead and select all these and scale it down a little bit. And I am going to rotate it a bit too, so we can see some of the branches. There we go. I think that looks fine. Go ahead and move this one down a bit. And there you go. Here's a nice looking tree, if I say so myself. Now press done on this and make sure to scale it down. And we are going to take our tree and we're just going to place a few of them. It doesn't matter where you place the tree. Oh, by the way, when you scale it down, make sure that you take off scale in place, because if you do this, it will mess up the scaling when you scale multiple things at the same time. So make sure that's off. But like I said, with your tree, go ahead and just place it around in a few places. Don't try to place too much, because it's obviously using a terrain and trees and grass and stuff, it's going to take up quite a bit of ink. So just like this, just place them around in a few places. They can be any kind of tree. And once you're done doing that, we are going to get started on the grass. I think that's a good amount of trees. Okay, and now that we've done that, let's make sure that everything is merged together. That way we'll save ink. And before we actually get started on this grass, go ahead and select all the ocean over here. We actually want to make the ocean decorational. So because we want to make the ocean decorational, we are going to split it off from everything else like that. Configure this and make it decorational. So when you fall in, you actually fall in. Now let's get started on the grass. Okay, so first we are going to have put our snapping on grid, get another tube. Again, make sure you pick another green color, because you don't want all the colors looking the same. Or maybe you do want the grass looking the same as the trees, but I don't. So I am going with period grass. Make sure your material's dirt. We are going to get uniform shapes on. We are going to turn down our tube radius to 0.2, tube height size 1, facet 6, tube analog mode is off, and smooth tubes is gonna be off. And we are just going to draw a blade of grass going straight up, nothing special. And then after we do that, we are going to want to get some ribbon actually. Make sure that your snapping is on off and make sure your tube radius is pretty small. What we are going to do is turn our maker pin around like this. Oh, you also want to make sure uniform shapes is off too. And we are just going to draw a little rainbow like that. And that will be our leaf. Now you want to make sure your maker pin is on the side like this, because otherwise it's going to draw it like this and we do not want it. We want it to draw like this. So just keep drawing that till you got enough blades of grass on there. Then once you're done doing that, we are actually going to edit the tube right here, and we're going to scale it down a bit. Not too much. Just going to scale it down a bit. And we might manipulate this so it's kind of like that. You may need to move some of your blades of grass. Now that you've done that, what we are going to do is we are going to get leaves now. So go ahead and, oh, this isn't grass, this is a flower that I'm making. Okay, that's okay. We can do flowers and then grass later. It's not like I was not going to do both those in this video anyway. Okay, so we're just going to get any color. Doesn't matter what the color is. It can be yellow, red. Depends on what color you want your flower to be. I want my flower to be yellow. So I'm going to get yellow. Make sure your snapping is on off. And just like what we did with the leaves on the tree, we're going to draw this. Do I have anything on? No, we are going to draw straight like this, and we're going to keep turning it and turning it and turning it until it is a circle. We are going to scale this up, and we're going to place this right on here. And that's going to be the center of our flower. Now what we are going to do is make the leaves. The leaves are basically the exact same way. So go ahead and get your grass color you're using. And we are going to do the exact same thing. So straight to the corner, make sure it's in a circle again. And we are going to take this and move this right on the flower. And we are going to extend it out a bit. We're not going to try to show the center, so try to squeeze it in a little bit. It may be hard to try to get what you're manipulating. Just gonna scale this up a bit. And once you got that, you can place this on the side of here. And just keep doing this all around the flower. It doesn't have to be that neat, but just make sure it is all around the flower. And once you're done doing this, just like with everything else, we're going to scale it down and place it on the terrain. Once I'm done with the blade of grass, I'll scale it up so you guys can see what the terrain looks like. I might have showed it at the beginning of the video too. I think I did. Okay, go ahead and press done, scale it down a bit. And we are going to place this somewhere. Just place this right here. Now, just saying, this is the same scale as about half the tree, so we do not want it to be like that. So scale it down really small like an actual flower should be. And there we go. And once we have that down here, you can choose the copy it around just as it is, but I'm going to show you. We probably want to copy this and place it in a circle. Go ahead and merge all your flowers together. And we're going to make sure that they're decorational. Now we're just going to take the flowers, just copy them around a few times because they do take up quite a bit of ink, as you can see. I'm at 7.75. I go ahead and copy this, and I go from 7.75 to 9.14. So be mindful of your ink when you're using this kind of stuff. Now we have the flowers. We're going to go ahead and merge them together because they're taking up quite a bit of ink. Just saying, the flowers are taking up more ink than the trees, the land, and the ocean together. Even if we merge them, they're going to take up more ink than all of them. And sometimes you get merge failed, which just means there's too much ink that you're trying to merge together. So just go ahead and try to merge as many as you can together. Okay, merge that bunch. I'll merge the other three together on its own then. And we went down from 17% to 16%. Like I said, the flowers are going to take up most of the ink, so don't use too many. And now what we're going to do is we are going to put our snapping on grid, get a tube. We are going to change our grass color again. I'm going to change it to emerald for the grass. And we are going to want to make sure that it is a uniform shape. Make sure that it is 0.2 tube radius, 1 tube height scale, 2 facet 6 off, and we are going to turn smooth tubes on. What we're going to do is we're just going to draw a straight line up. This will be our blade of grass. It's nothing really impressive. We're just going to draw it up like that, and then we are going to turn it like this to make the grass not have that many in it. We're going to do this in a circle and make sure that the grass is pretty close to each other too. And make the grass a little bigger because I think the blade of grass is a bit too small. And actually, what you can do after you do this is you can just copy it. Don't copy it too much because it will take up a lot of ink too. But you can move it over like this and it will be a shrub of grass that we got. And now that we have this, go ahead and select all the pieces and merge them together. Make sure it's decorational. The reason you see a lot of art maps decorational is this stuff takes up quite a bit of ink. And once you do that, we are actually going to scale this down a little bit. Because if we don't scale this down, it's going to cause some problems. And we are just going to place a few blades of grass in each little area. Okay, and once you're done placing all your grass, make sure to select all of them and merge them together. This doesn't take up as much ink as the flowers, so you should be able to merge all of them together without it saying error. Now that we have that, what we're going to do is, because our ocean is kinda not really that even with the land, so before we scale this up, we're actually going to, well, I'm actually going to go ahead and straighten it up a little bit. You can do the exact same thing if you want. Well, like I said, we don't want any of these dark lines appearing, so we want to make sure that these are completely gone. Now that you've done that, what you can do is you can go ahead and select everything that you have here. The flowers will oh, I didn't get that blade of grass over here. The flowers will definitely take up a lot of ink. So if you are going to copy them, just be prepared for ink to jump up to like 30 or 40 just by copying it one time. And I'm not joking about that, by the way. It really will do that. So go ahead and make sure everything is selected, and we are going to make sure it looked like I built this weird. Well, it's okay. We are going to copy this over. You may lag for a few seconds because it takes up a lot, and we are going to make sure that it connects like this. Just make sure it connects up properly. This is why you don't see art rooms too big, because it takes up quite a bit of ink. And then once you do that, you are going to want to also make sure that it is connected properly. So you're just going to want to do this again. Yeah, if you want terrain, you're just going to keep doing this over and over again. But of course, why do this when you have Rec Room Studio? Am I right? Just wait till Rec Room Studio comes out. No one's going to want to use the Maker Pen. The Maker Pen's going to become useless. And then once you do that, I am going to go ahead and scale this up real quick just to show you. Oh, need to go ahead and merge. Oh, merge failed. It's too big. Okay, so make sure everything is selected. And once everything is selected, go ahead and scale it up. I don't know how big you want this to be. Trees are pretty big, so we're gonna wanna scale it up to where the tree is about my size, I would say. So yeah, this looks good. And there you go. You have your own little terrain. You can go ahead and mess with the flowers and anything if anything didn't come out too well. But yeah. If you enjoyed this tutorial, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.